As a photojournalist during the 60s and 70s, my photographs appeared in major magazines such as Life, Paris Match and Stern. In this video, I'll be telling you all about the cameras I used, showing you the photographs I took, and explaining the technical problems that had to be overcome in order to capture them. On the hard rocky shore of Paradise Bay, the team start to construct their underwater house using Dexian, timber, scaffolding poles and rubberized fabric, which they will inflate to form the balloon type house once it is underwater. They follow a plan which has been drawn up months before in London, and within a few days the house is built. They must now work on the instruments which are going to go into the house, including the device developed by Brian Ray, which enables them to rebreathe the air. They carry out careful survey works, both on land and diving into the calm waters of Paradise Bay, or using the Dexian-based ladder they've constructed, enter the water in order to carry out a survey of the ocean floor to find which will be working, which will be most appropriate. They test the density of the rock on which they will anchor the house, and also conduct survey work using theodolite equipment as on land. Which will enable them to map the ocean meticulously before these scientist divers start construction. The house finished, they carry it carefully with a 6-man team of young enthusiasts to the water's edge. A diver enters in order to guide the house into its position some 40 feet beneath the waves. The house is then anchored by steel hawsers to pins driven into the rocks. It is meticulous and hard work. They then lay a telephone cable out of the house, which will also be equipped with its own electric light apart from the shore. The house is inflated and the divers check the rubberized fabric to make sure there are no leaks. It can accommodate 2 team members who will conduct scientific research deep beneath the waves. When pressure in the balloon house becomes too high, they need to vent the air, which emerges with a rush of bubbles drifting upwards to the surface. Once again, the fabric has to be checked carefully to make sure there are no leaks which could imperil the lives of the scientists. The equipment is then carried to the house in watertight boxes. Some of these boxes have to be supplied with air so that they don't get crushed by the pressure of the sea. The house is now ready for occupation, and the divers carry the equipment up into the house. A short ladder was attached to the house to enable easy access for the divers. In the house, the rebreathing equipment enabled the divers to exist underwater without any breathing equipment. Brian Ray arrives while his colleague speaks on the telephone to the shore. The message is received loud and clear. Brian was also able to speak to London using the same line. Then the storm arrives. The team only just managed to salvage their inflatable craft, which was being bombarded by the heavy seas. It takes team effort to haul the boat from the churning waters onto the safety of the rocky shore. The house itself broke loose from its moorings and was completely wrecked. The team descend in order to rescue the valuable scientific equipment, much of which was also damaged. A sad end to an exhibition which provided 1 week underwater living for Brown and his team, who conducted valuable acoustic experiments beneath the waves. A year later I was underwater again, this time off Plymouth Breakwater, where we were launching an underwater steel house called Glaucus, which had to be weighed down with large blocks of iron. Visibility was very poor and only enabled me to get close-up pictures of the house, with a diver who is fully suited to protect it from the cold, examining the exterior to make sure it is free from leaks. One of the first divers to arrive in the house was Margot Parker, who made everything shipshape, with the other divers who arrived shortly afterwards and were greeted by her with a warm cup of tea. Later Margot settled down to live for a week with other members of the team in the house and took time to have a cup of tea, some toast and read her magazine while engaged in a little knitting. If you'd like to see some more of my photographs, please go to www.thewayitwas.uk. If you'd like to purchase a copy of my book, The Way It Was, then please go to the same website and take a look at what it contains. If you lived through the 60s, it will bring back some memories. If you never lived through the 60s, you'll find a foreign country where they do things very differently.